Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's presentation on CaseLines and how to file your divorce documents with the court. My name is Stephanie, if we have not met already, and I'm an articling student at Russell Alexander Collaborative Family Lawyers. So I'm just going to review a little bit of housekeeping and introductions, let you know what's on the agenda for today before I pass things over to our panelists. So here we go. In this 1-hour presentation, Russell, Michelle, and Kaitlyn will be discussing the following topics displayed on your screen here. So there will also be a Q&A portion at the end of the webinar. So if you haven't already, please feel free to submit your questions through that Q&A box. We've already received quite a few questions, but we'll do our best to get to as many as we can. Just to keep everyone's identities anonymous, we have disabled the chat function, but you can still communicate with us through that Q&A box. Just a reminder as well to keep in mind the content of this webinar is to provide you with general information on divorce and is not to be considered as legal advice. For those of us joining from the legal community, this program has been accredited by the Law Society of Ontario and contains 1 hour of professionalism content. But now that you know what's on the agenda for today, I'm going to get into some introductions. It's my pleasure to introduce our hosts, Michelle Mulchan, Russell Alexander, and Kaitlyn Swindells, all from Russell Alexander Collaborative Family Lawyers. Michelle has been practicing family law for over 10 years. She's skilled in all areas of family law, including divorce, property division, child, spousal support, family responsibility office, enforcement matters, the list goes on.
She does it all. She does it all.
That's all.
That's
So
just a
Michelle,
nice way of saying I'm old. And I've been around.
not at all. Michelle, her focus is on creating comprehensive creative resolutions for family law matters, and she excels in helping her clients deal with complex financial issues that arise as a result of a separation. The lovely Kaitlyn joined our firm as a law clerk in 2017, and she has worked exclusively in family law since graduating from the law clerk program at Centennial College in 2014. Kaitlyn assists our firm's lawyers and works directly with clients to help them at each stage of their family law matter. She ensures that clients are met with quality administrative and legal care by providing excellent service and shares her knowledge and understanding of the family law rules and court procedures.
When I get a question, I usually say, I don't know, I got to ask Kaitlyn. I don't know the answer. Kaitlyn will know the answer.
Kaitlyn knows everything. And last but certainly not least, Russell is the founder and senior partner of Russell Alexander Collaborative Family Lawyers. With over 20 years of experience, Russell offers a wealth of knowledge and expertise in collaborative family law. He uses his experience with a client-focused approach by creating unique solutions for each of his clients to enable them and their families to move forward with their lives in a compassionate and collaborative manner. So now that you know a little bit more about our hosts and what's on the agenda for today, I'll pass things over to you, Russell.
Thank you for those kind words, Shannon. Stephanie.
I know we've just been switching back and forth. You never know who you're going to get on these.
I'm just teasing it. No, that was a great introduction. Thank you. Let's throw our first poll up. Welcome, everybody. We have a few hundred people showing up today, so we want to get a sense of who our audience is, and we kind of try to gear our presentation towards our audience if at all possible. Please use the Q&A. If you want to communicate with the panelists or ask us questions, put them in there. We're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. We'll be answering questions during the polls. We're going to give everybody maybe a minute or two to put their poll question up. Please answer the polls. It makes it much more interactive and a better experience to find out what our other audience members are thinking. You're going to get show notes from everything. We're going to go through a lot of stuff today. We're going to get show notes in terms of the references and the materials we're referring to, so you'll be able to catch up later if you want to review the notes. And we're going to ask for your feedback, good, bad, indifferent, and a survey. Let us know how we're doing so we can improve this program and make it work for everybody. So let's see what our audience consists of today. 79% in the law professional, clear majority. 7% another professional, another field. 9% going through a separation or divorce. 1% helping a loved one. 2 law students joining us today, and other. So you can put that in the box and let us know what the other is. Thank you guys for participating. So Zoom Divorce. This is what we've been doing for over 2.5 years, right? We've been going to court using Zoom. We're swinging out of it now. The Chief Justice, we're going to take a look at our next slide. The Chief Justice has issued a practice direction regarding presumptive hearings. So there's a patchwork of rules throughout the province of Ontario. Zoom is still being used for a lot of hearings that are administrative. It's continuing in a lot of regions for cases that have started remotely, and judges are continuing to use it for case conferences and settlement conferences. But you get a mix depending on where you are in the province. So here's a picture of Ontario. We have 8 judicial regions. So you want to be mindful of what region you're in. For the number of regions, we have over 3 provincial-wide practice directions, and then we have 38 local practice directions. So each practice direction is different. Even within the same region, you may have a case the first case conference is going to be remote, and a different courthouse that might be in person. We're seeing more and more judges ordering lawyers and their clients to go back to in-person hearings. That's a whole nother presentation. Okay, we have our ad hoc committee. We have a petition dealing with it. There's issues of access to justice and costs, effectiveness of remote hearings. It's another presentation for another day. What the point of this slide is just to be mindful of your local practice direction, how Zoom Divorce is going to play into it. What are the rules going to be for you and your client when you go? I was thinking this morning, how this presentation has evolved. It was all Zoom Divorce, and it was all CaseLines, and it was all brand new. Now, with going back to in person, we're seeing you're going to be still using CaseLines, so the subject matter is essential. But how's it going to be different if you're doing it from your laptop at your home office or your regular office, or if you're in the body of the courtroom, where there may not be a good internet connection, right? And you might not be able to access the documents instantly. We're going to go back to the days of carrying, I don't know, what is it, Michelle? 1-2 banker boxes to court on a file cart.
Absolutely.
Up the elevator, half them fall out in the parking lot when you're getting them out of your car.
Horrible dollies, especially in the winter when it all gets soaked through because you're going through snow.
And half the time the wheels on the dollies break off, or
They're meant for moving people, not moving paper,
Yeah.
Russ. Like they just cannot keep up with lawyers' bankers' boxes.
So case lines, paper, what are we looking at? So that's Zoom Divorce in a nutshell. We've got presentations on it. Go watch our presentations if you want to learn more. We've got presentations on the presumptive hearings and live press conferences we've held if you want to learn more about the pros and cons. But we're talking about CaseLines today. So why is the court moving to e-filing? Who's got this one? I think this is you, Michelle.
It's you, Russ.
Oh, well, it moved to e-filing. It's moving to e-filing because it's been a paper-based system for 200 years, and with the pandemic, we couldn't file anything with the court. So they had to move. They had to pivot. Now that we have it, I think it's here to stay, right? We're not going to go back to the old days of filing paper at the counter. Most courts do not want you filing documents in person. They want it done electronically through CaseLines. So let's go to poll number 2. Let's see what our audience is thinking so far. And then we're going to get right into CaseLines. So the second poll question, have you used CaseLines before? If so, how did it go? Kaitlyn, what's your experience been like pre-pandemic and with CaseLines? Is it better or worse?
It's gotten better. There was a few headaches to begin with because everyone wasn't used to using it, and even the court wasn't sure how everything worked with CaseLines, but it seems to be a little bit more streamlined and is easier to use.
Once you learn how to use it.
Once you learn, exactly.
Well, the benefit of it is the judge could be conducting a hearing from a different court building or from home or from somewhere else and can still access the same documents that they would ordinarily have in their paper file at a courthouse. Well, that's the plan. It doesn't always work out that way, right?
Exactly.
All right.
That's funny. When you were talking about having a process server go and file papers, I had to shudder. Do you remember having to send a process server at 9 a.m. to make sure that something was filed by 3 p.m. that day? Because
They'd have to get in line.
Yeah.
Line
Yeah.
up all day.
And if you're a sole practitioner, you're lining up to file your client's documents, right?
Just such a waste of time and money. It's horrible.
Or even some of us having to line up and file
Yeah.
documents.
Or how about filing a paper affidavit of service saying you served them with the paper? Like this is craziness, right? If you look back at it, we did that for 200 years.
Yeah.
Now that we might be getting pulled back into and losing some of the silver lining. Maybe not. Let's see what our audience is thinking here. Yes, it was a disaster, 10%. Yes, it went well, 35%. Not yet, 55%. Wow.
That's surprising.
You've got something coming if you haven't used CaseLines yet. So
Don't scare them, Russ.
no, there's good, but you have to learn, right? That's what we're teaching
Yeah.
you today. All right, let's get into it. What is CaseLines? Okay, Michelle, it's your turn.
All right. So CaseLines is basically an electronic document management system. That's really all it is. So it really helps in terms of administering justice, keeping down costs, ensuring that proceedings are conducted smoothly, and also allows for more remote hearings. And it facilitates the court to allow more services because, as we just talked about, instead of spending hours, clerks spending hours at a filing counter filing things, just get an email, which is just really lovely. So in terms of CaseLines itself, I'm going to say it's easy to use once you get the hang of it. You really have to play with it. And I know that a lot of you haven't done it yet. Find a friend, find a buddy just to go online with. My buddy's Kaitlyn always. And, we go through, if you're going to have a long motion or a trial, go through and play with it and pretend that you're presenting to Kaitlyn using to your buddy. You can't all use Kaitlyn. To your buddy using CaseLines.
Call a friend, but just don't call Kaitlyn, right?
Exactly.
She's my friend. That's
okay.
So the great thing about CaseLines is, let's say you do have an issue and you kind of forget where your document is or your place in the document. You can actually search it. So you can Control F or Control Find and look for it. You can make private notes. You can highlight. It's really great and it's really easy to navigate. So instead of, remember those days, and when I say those days, this is literally 2 years ago, where you'd be in court and you'd say, Your Honor, okay, please turn to page 53 of my exhibit book, a tab X, and everyone sits and it takes 5 minutes and you're waiting for the opposing counsel to get it and then you get it. And then, you're waiting for the judge to get it. You may have to go up to a witness and move them to the right page.
But there's
Now,
always one exhibit book that wasn't photocopied right and it's missing that page, right?
Absolutely, or it's in the wrong order or whatever it is. So this way you're missing all of that. You can also highlight things, which I love. So again, poor Kaitlyn, she used to have to sit and she would know this. I love my color coding. So I'd say, okay, Kaitlyn, this page is going to be highlighted pink. This page is going to be highlighted yellow, and this is going to be highlighted green. And the poor thing, she'd have to go through. She'd have to go through a lot of different documents to make sure that everything was highlighted properly. And gone are those days. You can now do that directly into the system.
All right. You good, Michelle?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just fixing my audio. I know there's a bit of it's also, sorry guys, I'm quite sick, so my throat is very hoarse. That's probably part of it.
Yeah, some of the audience were asking you to speak up a little bit, if that's convenient.
Yes. Okay, so should we go to the next poll?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go to our next poll. I like that idea. What do you think you'll like about CaseLines? So we've told you a little bit about it so far, but let's see what you think. And we've got some audience questions coming in fast and furious. Thank you, everybody. Do self-reps have to use CaseLines? We're going to get to this in some more detail. Kaitlyn?
Yes, self-represented parties do have to use CaseLines. They will get access once they file the document that includes their email address on their documents, and the court will send a link to register for CaseLines, and I will show a slideshow later on that will show you what it looks like.
More questions coming in fast and furious. Thank you, everybody. Keep them coming. Do you have
And
to pay?
also,
Sorry, go
I
ahead,
apologize.
Michelle.
I apologize, Russ. Really, really important. Make sure that you have your email and your phone number on there. And check your junk mail. A lot of the times, if you've never accessed CaseLines before, it's going to come into your junk mail. And it takes a couple of days. So if you file, on day one, it may take a couple days to get that. So keep checking.
Yeah, great practice tip. Another question, do you have to pay for CaseLines?
I can take that. No, it's completely free. It's absolutely, well, I mean, the government pays for it, so we're
Yeah.
paying for it through our
The
taxes.
thing, yeah, but you don't have to buy a license.
Yeah.
You have to
we're
buy a
not paying
licensing fee like DivorceMate or some of this other software that family lawyers use. Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Great questions. Thank you, everybody. Let's see what our audience thinks. Easy to understand, 1%. Wow. Not a lot of votes there. 5% user friendly makes your job easier. 39% all of the above. 55%. Okay. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. So we're really going to lean heavily on Kaitlyn here for the next few minutes. But Kaitlyn, you do this every day. Take it away.
Yes. So do you need a case line? So the answer pretty much is yes. Most of the regions are using case lines. I know that effective August 15th of this year, Central East region expanded to the use of case lines for all court dates. And prior to using case lines, you do need to register for this. So in the next slide, when will come up, it'll show you what exactly the email looks like once you filed your documents and you do receive that email notifying you that you need to register for case lines. So you'll see on the screenshot here that you've been provided electronic access for your case. So that's when you would need to go online and register for your case lines. Lawyers do get the emails directly, but I know that all of my lawyers have provided their login information for the accounts so that I can invite myself as a law clerk to start uploading all of the pleadings to the CaseLines account. However,
Kaitlyn, this email is coming from the Ministry of the Attorney General?
From the courts. So
All
the
right.
court clerks directly set up the CaseLines account, and then it'll go straight to either the lawyers or the self-represented parties.
So this is step one. You got to find this email, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
And so so you can delegate any access that you want for CaseLine. So it could be a law clerk, a law student, legal assistant, or any admin in your office that you may need any documents uploaded to your CaseLines account for your matter. So nuts and bolts. So if you go on to the next slide, it'll be how to file a document. So this is actually separate from CaseLines. So there's two ways that you need to file your documents, whether it be by email, if your any deadline is under 5 days, or by what's called the portal. So you need to file your documents with the court by email or through the submissions portal online. And then once your documents have been accepted from the court, that's when you get to upload your documents onto CaseLines. You need to ensure that your documents are also named in accordance with the notice to the profession, which we'll show you in a few slides. And when a party or counsel uploads the documents prior to the court date, you'll receive an email notification which notifies you that a change has been made to CaseLines as you've uploaded your document to CaseLines. So you'll be able to view the uploaded documents through CaseLines via the review tab, which takes you to a separate screen. And that's where you can see all of your documents that have been uploaded and make any notes or highlights that you want to CaseLines.
Now, I know you're going to talk about this some more, but I just want to slow it down a little bit. You've got CaseLines and you got a portal.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of questions about this last time we did this presentation. Those are two different things, right?
That's correct. Your portal is separate and apart from CaseLines. So before uploading your documents to CaseLines, everything needs to be filed with the court. And so there's two options to file with the court. It's by email or through this portal. And so once your documents have been filed with the court, that's when you proceed to the next step of uploading your documents to CaseLines before your court date.
Okay. So go to the portal, then you go to CaseLines.
That's correct.
All right. I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but how does the document get from the portal to CaseLines?
So once you have submitted your documents through the portal, you'll receive an email notification from the court that your documents have been filed. And that's when you would go to CaseLines and take those documents that you filed and upload them into CaseLines. So we'll show you in a few slides what the portal looks like, as well as what.
Right. I'm just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I just want our audience to be mindful, right? There's a couple steps. One's the portal, one's CaseLines. We're going to tell you how to get there. But it's not, you'd think it'd be all one program, but it's not, right?
Maybe one day.
Okay.
We're still working on CaseLines. Once people get the hang of this, maybe we can combine them.
Are we ready for a poll, Kaitlyn?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Let's see if our audience is still with us. So, how should the following documents be named before updating this into CaseLines? So this is the naming protocol, right? And Kaitlyn created a fictional family with Homer and Marge Simpson. So we'll give everybody a moment to fill out that poll. Got lots of questions coming in here. Maybe I'll just throw it out while we're giving everybody a moment. How do you share a document on CaseLines?
Michelle, you want to take this one? Or you want
Yeah,
me to?
sure. So it really, I'm not quite sure what you mean by share. So for instance, everyone who has access to that particular case, because once you're in CaseLines, you get a case. I, as a lawyer, have access to 20 or 30 cases, but everyone on that case can see the documents. It's kind of like Dropbox, right? It's in there. You've got to go in, you've got to check. You get an email when it's been amended, so you know that something's been added to it. So you can go in now and view it. Now, if you're trying to share it with someone who's not on a verified user, then you'd have to do it the old-fashioned way of emailing it to them, putting it on a USB key, whatever it is.
All right, great. A couple more quick questions, and we're going to get the results here. Can you change the address when uploading to the clerk's email? Can you change the email address when uploading to the clerk's email? I'm not sure if I understand that question. Do you understand the question, Kaitlyn?
I'm not sure if they mean like when you're going to the, there's a section called people in CaseLines, and that's where you would invite your law clerks and you directly put their email address in there, and you'll notify that person, whether they're a law clerk or a law student. So you can change the email address on there,
right,
to put that person is a law clerk.
And I'm just reading these questions as they come in. Where is the submission portal, justice portal? What portal exactly?
So the portal can be located online at ontario.ca. We can definitely provide a link for everybody for the submissions portal. And then that's where you would be filing all of your family documents.
We're getting a ton of questions, so one more quick one. Does the 17F, that's the confirmation, also have to be filed via CaseLines?
Yes, your 17F confirmation of conference, or if you're proceeding with a motion, your 14C confirmation of motion needs to be uploaded. So what I normally do is once I filed it with the court 3 days before the 2 p.m. deadline, I automatically upload it to the CaseLines account.
Thank you so much, Kaitlyn. You're too kind. I feel like I'm doing a cross-examination here, but I'm just reading the questions off. All right, let's see what our audience is thinking. All right, so option 1. 67%, and the last option got 20%. What's the correct answer here, Kaitlyn?
So it's financial statement form 13.1, applicant H. Simpson, and then the date. So majority of people did have it correct. So
yeah, so
that's great.
They're getting it right. That's good. Yeah. Okay, let's get back at it. Naming protocol.
So here's the document, which shows from the notice to the profession how to name all of your documents, your standard document naming protocol before you go to serve and file your documents.
And we're starting to move a little bit to trying to save our documents in a similar format on our cloud-based system internally. So that way you're not switching from, there's a firm system for saving things and there's a CaseLines system for saving things. If it's all the same, it makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah, great tip.
So here it shows you from the consolidated notice to the profession for litigants, accused persons, public, and the media, which is effective January 11th. 2021, the new section for the standard document naming protocol. So that's when it came into effect.
And I know it's a pain, but what I would do and what I did do for the first little bit is I printed all of these out and I had them hard copy on my desk for the first little bit. It's changed so much, so make sure you've got the updated ones right now when you go to look. But once you get past the paper version, the other thing I do is I still have it saved on my desktop, and I've got it saved as a tab on my browser, so I can go back and double check in case I think, oh darn it, which order do I put things in?
Is it the screensaver on your phone too, Michelle?
It might. Right now it's the kids, but
Okay.
I eat, sleep, and dream law. So
Okay.
Even with our law firm, we do have a section where we keep a standard place where you can see all of the different notice to the professions for each region so that you can stay up to date. And so we try and update that firm-wide so that everybody knows what's going on.
absolutely, if you have friends or if you have other, colleagues who are doing family law, just send an email because sometimes these things slip by you. So it's
Yeah.
nice to keep everyone informed.
Exactly.
And your local librarian's usually pretty good at sending out the notices as they come in as well. So join your local law librarian. They're excellent.
Okay, so this slide, it is what's called the submissions portal login. So as I said, you can obtain this through ontario.ca. So this is where you would go to file your court documents before you have to upload them to CaseLines. So this would be the standard login where you need to get a one key ID. And if you do not have a one key ID, on the left-hand side there, you will see sign up now. So this is where you would need to register to get your submissions portal login information. So if you want to move to the next slide. So after you have logged into your submissions portal, this is the first page that you come into. And as we are dealing with family, you'll see near the bottom, there is a family submissions online. And you would click start and then go to the next slide. And so after you've clicked on the family submission online through the submission portal, this will be your next page. So you would type in your email address, select the type of case you have, whether it's Ontario Court of Justice or Superior Court of Justice, and then select the type of submission, and then as well select your court location, whether it be Oshawa, Lindsay, Newmarket, any of your court, and then you would save and continue. And then move on to your next slide. So after you have submitted your documents through the submissions portal, as I said, you'll receive an email notification advising whether your documents have been accepted for filing. So as you can see in this snapshot code here, you'll see Superior Court of Justice from Lindsay Court. They accepted and have confirmed that our case conference brief was filed along with our affidavit of service. So now that we've received confirmation that this case conference brief has been filed from the court, we would then go to CaseLines and upload our case conference brief along with our affidavit of service. So here's your CaseLines. So this is where you would go to upload your documents. So as I said, you would take your case conference brief, drag it in and drop it, along with a copy of your affidavit of service. You always need to ensure that any document that you have served, you need to upload your affidavit of service with it just to confirm that you have served these documents.
Just on that note, Michelle, you got a good practice tip about the affidavit of service, right? You usually print it off and keep a copy with you in case the court says we don't have it.
Yeah, I like to keep everything handy just in case there's any issues. The other thing I will say is that when you get that first email allowing you to go into CaseLines, or you get that first email from your trial coordinator saying that, something has been accepted, save that person as a trusted sender, because then that way it's not going to go into your spam. It's going to go into your regular email. And if you are a self-represented party, I would actually open a brand new email account just for this, because if your email is anything like mine, it's jam-packed with junk. And this is one of those things that you cannot miss. It's really, really important.
That's a great tip, Michelle. So yes, you do need to, once you filed your document with the court and you've received confirmation that it's been filed, that's when you would go to upload your documents on CaseLines. And here on this screen, you will see the case conference brief along with the affidavit of service and the confirmation of conference have been uploaded to CaseLines. And so this is what's called under the review tab. So this is where all the documents that have been uploaded to CaseLines for that specific matter, you will see all of the documents that have been uploaded. Not sure if you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a poll.
Oh, perfect.
And check the chat. We're dumping all these links to everything Kaitlyn's talking about in the chat. So if you want to find out where the sites are and what we're talking about, our host is putting the links in so you can look at those. All right.
Open them and bookmark them now, guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, great stuff. All right, let's go to our next poll question. What other features would you like to see in CaseLines? And we're going to give everybody a minute to answer this. And we've got lots of great questions coming in. All right, any questions you want to take on, or should I just read them off here?
You can just read them off. Sorry, I was getting those links for everyone, so I haven't been monitoring the chat.
All right, thank you, Michelle. One came in, do you upload documents to CaseLines before or after receiving email acceptance from the filing portal?
So you need to receive confirmation from the court that your documents have been filed before you upload your documents to CaseLines, because there could be an issue with your documents, and if they're not accepted and you upload the documents to CaseLines, it's basically null and void because the judge shouldn't be reading a document that hasn't been filed with the court.
Okay, great answer. And Michelle's going to talk a little bit about administrative misadventure. Sometimes you do it all right and the judge says, I didn't get any of your documents, right? So that's still going to happen, even though you follow all the steps. That's why these confirmations that Michelle is talking about are so important, right? You can say, well, I've got confirmation from the trial coordinator that it was done. All right, let's see what our audience is thinking with respect to this poll. Thank you, everybody, again, for answering. Integration of CaseLines with the filing system, 55%. Clear page limits set out in CaseLines, 10%. Right now, Kaitlyn, where do you find the page limits? Those will be in the rules or the practice directions?
The notice to the profession.
Right. So look, remember that map I showed you. Find what region you're in, find what court you're filing with, find the practice direction and the notice to the profession. That's going to give you the page limits.
Okay.
Use of Word documents, vetting of the documents, they came in around 8-10%. Shorter timelines for submitting documents, 6%. Longer timelines for submitting documents, 11%. What do you think of these results, Kaitlyn?
I would definitely say my favorite is the integration of CaseLines with the filing system. It doesn't need to be two different steps. I feel like if it was integrated and you just uploaded to CaseLines, the court clerks could accept or reject those. So it would make everything a lot easier and would save a lot of time.
So the idea is get rid of the portal, just go right to CaseLines.
Yeah.
Is that second step that's stripping up a lot of not just the lawyers, but people are trying to do this on their own.
Or even us.
And
I think
definitely us.
I think the vetting system is also important that it's integrated, because a lot of self-reps don't realize you have to wait for that email first. So let's say a self-rep, and not let's say, this has happened to me, files an affidavit that's 400 pages with exhibits. That's not going to be allowed. And if they upload that to CaseLines, a judge is going to be very angry once they realize, they get to page 20 and they say, hey, wait a second, there's more here. But also it's going to open you up to costs. So it would be nice to have a one-step system where you submit to CaseLines, and then once it's vetted by the court clerks, it automatically pops up for everyone.
Lawyers do that too. I had a lawyer file on a Friday afternoon a 600-page private investigator's report for a Monday morning case conference. And I knew the judge wasn't going to read it, but the effect it had on my client, just thinking about this all weekend, she was overwhelmed, right? So I agree with that, Michelle, 100%. Okay, let's get back to Kaitlyn. Let's find out what we're doing here. Prepare documents. Keep going, Kaitlyn, because this is pure gold.
So Well, we're going to be showing you a few tips and tricks for hyperlinking documents, highlighting documents, leaving notes. So this first slide here is the hyperlinking. So I like this tip because it's easy to use, and when you're going through your CaseLines account, you can go directly to the document. As you can see, there's a hyperlink tab at the top right corner. So you can go specifically to your document. In this case, it's our case conference brief, and we had Schedule C, an appraisal of a real property. So I was able to add the hyperlink right to the Schedule C, so that when my lawyer was during their case conference was reading the case conference brief and could click right on the Schedule C, and it would take them down to this Schedule C to show them the appraisal of the real property. So it's real neat that you can hyperlink the documents right in CaseLines rather than having to do it in the PDF document, so that it's easier for the lawyers once they're in their court date to see the hyperlink. You can hyperlink any document that you need. If you go on to the next slide, we're going to be showing you how to do your notes. So this is where you can add any notes that you may need just to reach out during your court date to remind yourself of things. I just want to note that there are a couple different case notes where one can be private, or you can also share your group note. So just be mindful when you're adding these notes. If there's something that you don't want the other side seeing, please don't put share group notes, so that you don't want anybody else to see. Like, you always want it to be a private note. So sometimes you can always add yourself as the private note and then always change it after, but just be mindful before you're sending that out to share it, that you don't want anybody else seeing something that you don't want them seeing. And then the next one on the next slide will be our highlighting. So as Michelle noted, she likes the highlighting. So it's easier when you're going through your briefs or any of your affidavits. If you want to highlight things, you can also change the colors. So whether Michelle wants to highlight something in the yellow, whether I want to highlight something in the orange, it's easier for two different parties to highlight their own documents, as well as you can highlight the other party's documents that you're seeing through the CaseLines account.
So
the highlight.
Sorry, Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
Those highlights are for Michelle only, or can the judge see the sections she's highlighting, or is there an option to flip back and forth?
So these right here would be your own notes that you're highlighting, but there is the option to share those highlights with the other sides.
And the judge.
That's correct. Yeah.
I've highlighted the best parts or the parts I don't like from my opponents. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just easier. The notes and the highlighting system are easy to pinpoint things that you think are important that the judge needs to know during your court date. If you want to flip over to the next slide. So when to file a document. So all parties or their counsel are responsible for uploading documents into CaseLines prior to the court date. Prior to the court date, you will need to log in to CaseLines to access your Zoom details for the appearance. This is important because I would say pretty much no courts are providing the Zoom link. If you email the trial coordinator and ask them, they just direct you to your CaseLines account. So you need to ensure that you have your CaseLines account ready to go before your court date so that you can log in and double check that your Zoom details are there. This can also be found through the case homepage, which will take you directly to the Zoom link and the details, meaning the meeting ID as well as the passcode.
I actually had one recently, Kaitlyn. I don't know if I told you, where the trial coordinator did send us the link, and it was a motion. So I was just sitting there waiting, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11. And then around, a couple hours later, the other party and I had been conferencing throughout anyway, but the other party told me that they were all waiting and the judge was waiting on me, and I was in the wrong link. The trial coordinator had accidentally sent me the wrong link. So default to CaseLines, it's the best.
For the notes section, a question came in. Can you share the notes as well, or is that just for your own reference?
Yeah, so there's two options. There's the private notes and then there's the share group notes. So once you share the group notes, that's when the judge and the other side will be able to see your notes.
So make sure you're not sharing your private notes, right? Like, yeah. I really dislike the opposing counsel on this case or whatever. Do not share those ones.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. I love all the opposing counsel. It's a professional obligation. I just want to clarify that.
It's only because this is being recorded, isn't it, Russ, that you're saying that?
So this slide here, is there a limit to what you can file? No, there is only page limits that you must abide by, which are set out in the rules of court and the practice instructions, as well as the notice to the profession. So please be mindful when you're going to file your documents, whether it be any of your briefs or your motion documents. Those are the page limits that you need to be mindful of before you upload your documents, before you have them filed. Proof of service. So this one's really important. So court documents must continue to be filed with the court before they uploaded into CaseLines in accordance with the applicable rules of procedure and notices of profession. And parties are also required to upload their court documents that have been filed with the court to CaseLines in advance of the hearing. So it's always important to have your affidavit of service attached with any of the documents that you have filed and uploaded into CaseLines, just so that the judge can see that you have actually served the documents. Because I know on a couple occasions where an affidavit of service wasn't uploaded and the other side tried to question whether or not they were served with the documents, but we did have the proof of service. So it's important that you need to have that, not only you have your affidavits of service attached, but also your confirmation that your documents have been uploaded to CaseLines. So as I said, once you have uploaded your documents to CaseLines, you will receive a confirmation as shown in the screenshot that documents have been uploaded to your CaseLines account. So in this section here, it says in section A, so section A would be applicant, and then section B would be the respondent. So after you've uploaded your documents to CaseLines and you receive that email confirmation, just double check that if you're the applicant that they've been uploaded to section A, and if you're the respondent that your documents have been uploaded to section B.
Just on that note, if the court cannot find your documents and the hearing needs to be adjourned, likely they're going to look to somebody to pay costs. So if you have your proof of service handy, you could just demonstrate it wasn't at your end, it's at the court's end. So it's going to inoculate you or your client potentially from risk of costs if for some reason your documents don't show up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, administrative misadventure. How great is that timing? Michelle, I hope I didn't take your point.
I wish I didn't have so much experience with this topic. Yeah, so things go missing. Let's be honest. Everyone's struggling, court clerks, judges, to get acquainted with this system. You know, it's been about a year or so that we've been using it, but what's happening is we're rolling out. So Toronto, and parts of Central East got it first, and now we're kind of slowly branching out. So you're going to find times when judges haven't read it, or it properly hasn't come to someone's attention, or something that you know that you've uploaded and you have a copy of is just not there. And judges, as long as you can confirm and the other party confirms that you did serve and file it on time, then judges are usually pretty reasonable. They're understanding that these things happen. I've had some judges who are great who say, you know what, just send it to my clerk, and we can easily send it to the clerk and the clerk can send it to them right then and there. It takes 5 minutes. Or I've had judges who say, okay, just give me the brief outline. Give me your Coles notes on what's going on. But the most important thing is to have that proof that you did submit it to the portal and it was accepted. Because once that's done and you have your proof that you uploaded to CaseLines, once that's done, it's now a back end issue. It's not your end issue, and you're not going to get costs against you. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thanks so much. So what about parties who abuse the system? Sorry guys, there's so many questions here. I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on with
We've got a poll coming up, so we'll go through some of the questions on the next poll.
Okay, good. But one of the questions, or one of the topics, seems to be what happens if people don't wait for that email, or they upload something improperly. Well, as the other party or the other lawyer, it's your right and it's your responsibility that when that conference starts, that you alert the judge. So, Your Honor, my friend has submitted a 600-page affidavit, which is against the...
Michelle, let's throw our next poll up because it ties in really neatly with your comments here.
All right, it's still on
And
my slide. I have things to talk about.
we're
Let me
gonna.
talk.
You want to talk before we do this poll question?
Well, it's just we're talking about that slide, parties who abuse
All
the
right, let's go
system.
back. I just don't want to get. All right, go back to the slide.
Oh,
Sorry to cut you
are we
off.
running out of time? Is
No,
that
we're
what it
good.
is?
We're
Sorry,
good. Sorry,
guys.
go ahead.
Okay. So really your position as the opposing party is to tell the judge that it's incorrect and that it should not be read. Now it's really up to a judge to have that discretion and to make a decision as to whether or not they are going to read it. Or other options could be costs. You could adjourn the matter. It really just depends on what the issue is and what the judge wants to do.
All right, time for a poll. So that ties in neatly with Michelle's comments. What penalties should be given to parties who abuse the system? And so you touched upon that a little bit, but let's see what our audience is thinking. And there's some repeated abusers, right? Some people just seem to think they're going to dump as much in there and somehow gain. And some judges will actually read it even though they're not supposed to. So let's see what our audience thinks. Question that did come in, Michelle, since you're the highlight expert, what if both parties are using the same color highlighter? Can you distinguish who's been doing all the highlighting?
Yeah, you probably want to make sure that you're using different colors. And if one party has already used yellow, too bad. You should probably
Have you
use a
come
different
across that
color.
where the whole file
No,
is all
I think
yellow?
I'm one of the few people who actually highlight, to be quite honest. Most people don't.
So you want to pick a unique highlighter color, not yellow.
Yeah. And they're pretty good. You know how in the old days you'd highlight something on paper and it'd be hard to read? Well, the system ensures that you can still read it.
Okay.
I mean, I think yellow is always the best. So if you're the first to highlight, you get the yellow color. But then you can go from there.
But it doesn't lock out the other party from using yellow,
No, it doesn't.
which would probably be a good feature. Let's see what our audience is thinking. Cost sanctions, 76%, clear majority there. Rescheduling of the event, 6%. The tough part of that is if you're not the party at fault, now you might have to wait 4 or 5 months for your next hearing, right? Pleadings be struck. Yeah, you really have to do some misconduct to get your pleading struck. But it's one of the ultimate remedies, right? Just don't hear that party anymore. Thank you, audience.
The thing I really like about costs is that it'll be in the endorsement. So if you have one of these repeat offenders and you have 3 endorsements with costs to the other party for abusing the system consistently, that's when you can get to a point where you can start asking a judge for more harsher sanctions.
Yeah, great point. Okay, so the case is over. What happens to the documents, Michelle?
So after the last endorsement has been made, you're supposed to get an email notification that Section G, which is the section for endorsements, has been updated. And you should, at that time, download everything. So one thing we didn't talk about before, and there's so much, guys, we're sorry, we're trying to pack it all in, is you can actually, at the top of your screen, when you log into CaseLines, you'll see this thing called bundles, Bundles. You can actually, in one click, download the entire file, kind of like if you went to the court and got a copy of the record. And that's really helpful. I would strongly recommend, as lawyers, as self-represented, that you download the entire bundle and you keep a copy with you just in case you ever need any of those documents again.
All right.
All right, so we've talked about a lot of this throughout, but basically what you want to do is have that practice, and for your particular matter, whether it's a conference, a motion, or a trial, get used to directing a judge to exactly where in the matter you want to be. So if you're on Zoom, you can share your screen, actually be in CaseLines, and the judge can be seeing what you're seeing, much like we are today. Or if you're in person and the judge is using a computer, you can say to your honor, I would suggest you probably have an iPad or a laptop, something like that, that's available with it. But if you don't, you can go back to the old school method of just having those couple of pages printed with the correct page number there and direct a judge to it that way. Highlighting, as I said, is really helpful, especially if a judge is trying to find something in a large set of documents, if your section that you're trying to get him to is highlighted yellow, him or her, it's going to be a lot easier for that judge to find it. And for motions, I think motions and trials, I think it's imperative that you're hyperlinking, you're highlighting, and I don't use the note feature as much, but lots of people swear by it.
Just on that note, I did hear some counsel complain that when they uploaded it, they lost their hyperlinks. Have you run into that problem, Michelle or Kaitlyn?
Yeah, it happens. You may have to re-hyperlink it within the system.
So you can do would it be better to hyperlink it once it's there, or do it beforehand? What are you doing, Kaitlyn?
So I normally do it before. I actually haven't had that issue before where I've lost the hyperlinks to my PDF documents. It was especially great when I had to do a trial with one of my lawyers, the last trial sittings, and it automatically just did the hyperlinking when I uploaded the documents. So I didn't even have to use the hyperlinking tool in CaseLines, where it worked for the lawyer. So everything was hyperlinked and it was fantastic. So maybe you could reach out to CaseLines to try and figure your court clerks to figure out what the issue is, why it's not hyperlinking. But I love the tool of having to hyperlink before and then having it uploaded and it working.
This was a while ago, so they might have updated the system. So let's go to our final poll of the day. Then we have a couple more talking points, and then we're going to get into Q&A. So do you think CaseLines will assist with making virtual court hearings efficient? I think we could probably even put virtual or in-person court hearings efficient. So we're going to give everybody a moment and a couple great questions that came in. Do hyperlinks have to be in PDF format to upload? Kaitlyn,
I
you
don't
know
think
the-
so.
Yeah.
I think I've been following along with some comments on some of these groups that I'm in. And it seems to be that where the hyperlinks aren't uploading automatically, people are using older versions of systems. So we're very fortunate. We do have, the newest version of Adobe and Adobe Pro. We have the newest version of Microsoft Word and Windows. So it may be that it's not backwards compatible. That may be part of the problem.
All right, more hyperlink questions. What are you allowed to hyperlink? And how do you hyperlink within the system?
Kaitlyn, do you want to, I can explain how to do, so you can hyperlink kind of two ways. One, you can hyperlink
Exactly.
within your particular document. So for instance, financial statements. If you're doing a trial and you want to convince the judge that your valuation of the matrimonial home is correct, I would strongly recommend you hyperlink from your financial statement to your valuation that you have to show the judge how you got to that number. So that's within the system. But then you can also hyperlink, and the judges are asking that you hyperlink to a publicly available system like Canly. So you can hyperlink cases that would be outside of the system. So you would click on a case link, you'd go to Canly, and that would open that particular case. Kaitlyn, can you explain how to do both?
So there's really no restrictions on what you can hyperlink. So when you're in your documents, in your PDF documents, or your Word documents, so your PDF documents, if you're hyperlinking into something that's attached to your document, so say it's a case conference brief and you have your 3 schedules, there's a way through your Adobe, through your PDF document, where you click and drag on that specific document that you want hyperlinked. And then you would click onto the next page onto your schedule that you want to hyperlink the document. So you're essentially attaching the 2 documents where you can click on the document that you want and it takes you directly to that page. Whereas when you're hyperlinking to an external website, you're clicking the website link and attaching that into your document so that it takes you to that external website. So there's the hyperlinking in your specific document or hyperlinking into your specific website that you want hyperlinked.
Sounds like a pretty powerful tool. Thank you, Kaitlyn. Last quick question. When you download documents on CaseLines, does opposing counsel also get notification that you've uploaded your documents? So I guess everybody gets notice when something changes.
You get that email.
something changes in the CaseLines file, everybody's notified.
Yeah, so whether you've uploaded documents, whether the other side has uploaded documents, or whether the court has uploaded the endorsement or an order, everybody receives an email that is invited to that specific case.
Right. One quick hypothetical, and I know it's never happened. What if you say, oh crap, I uploaded a draft, I didn't upload the final copy. Can you pull that back out, or is it stuck there?
Yes, you can pull documents back. I know recently when I was uploading a document into a bundle, I was uploading it. It was actually for Michelle's motion today. It actually uploaded to the case conference bundle instead of the motion bundle. So I did remove that document, and then I re-uploaded it into the motion bundle. So just make sure when you're uploading your documents into your bundles that you're. So
you can redeem yourself. There is a way. All right, let's see what our audience is thinking. Well, we've heard 55%. Like, this hyperlinking is so easy. Like, it's just such a great form of advocacy, right? To say, okay, this is my number for my business. Here's the business valuation. That source is the number. Strongly agree 20%, disagree 6%, unsure 18%. I guess, and if you're unsure, you just have to give it a try. So we've got one more topic. This is you, Michelle. We're right on time. Let's get this in 1 minute or less. Then we're going to do some more questions.
So basically, they go hand in hand. We cannot have, electronic methods of meeting via, for instance, Zoom, without having also an electronic copy or a way to show everything to everyone. You can imagine if I just had my paper copy, I couldn't just go like this and hold it up to a judge. It would not work quite so well. It does create another layer. And so, it's one of those things that you really want to play with before you have your first motion or before you have your first event. That's really important to use it. And we know everyone is not tech savvy. So for instance, if you are a self-represented party and the other party is represented, you can actually reach out to that lawyer and say, hey, I'm having a hard time. And I know our office will help. We want to make sure that the matter is ready for a judge, and we're not going to say no, we're not going to help you upload that. Now, we won't do it for you every single time, but we'll do our best to teach you. We'll send you our resources, and most lawyers are collegial that way. I hope that you'll be able to find someone to help you. The other thing is, if you are a lawyer, find a senior lawyer in your area who's done this. I know there's a number of lawyers who've done these types of webinars. There's saved webinars from the Law Society, from Thomson Reuters and Reuters. So lots of different options. Just watch the videos, play with it. See if you can.
Or if you're a senior lawyer, find a junior lawyer to teach you how to do it, right?
Find a Kaitlyn, but not my Kaitlyn.
We've fired a lot of information at our audience, and we've done this presentation before. We can make a recording available if we've gone through it so quickly, and there's so much to learn. But thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Kaitlyn. Incredible information today. And Steph's back to ask us 1 or 2 questions, and then we're going to wrap the session up.
Of course. So just some rapid fire questions that have come in. Are all the forms as they were, or have they changed? And is there a special way in how they are filed now?
Sorry, I'm not sure we understand what
form. I think they're asking, have all the family law forms changed, like the 14B, the financial statements?
There was a change. Oh, let's think, Kaitlyn, that would have been March 2021.
I think so, or maybe September 2021.
Okay, thank you. When the new Divorce Act changes came into play, and so when we changed the terms custody and access, there were some changes there. But absolutely, if you're on DivorceMate, they have all the updated. If not, you can go to the website.
Yeah, they were updated March 2021. We'll put a link into the chat where you can actually get the forms from the Ontario courtforms.on.ca. And that will take you to the forms. Great question.
It was the financial statements that changed in September 2021 as well. The 14B motions changed at the end of last year as well.
Right.
But everything should be updated by now.
But not everybody has DivorceMate, but you can get, if you don't have DivorceMate, you can get the forms through the government site.
That's right.
So we'll just quickly do one more. A divorce application requires a payment to the Minister of Finance. How does this work with the online filing?
Kaitlyn?
So the cost to file the documents online is the same as the to the cost to file documents in person at the courthouse. For Ontario Court of Justice, there is no filing fees, but for the Superior Court of Justice, including the Family Court branch, there are filing fees depending on the claims in your case and the documents that you're filing. But you have the option for Visa, MasterCard, or debit. If you're in person, then you can file using a check if you would like.
All right, thank you. So it is 11:30. So I just want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thank you again, Kaitlyn, Michelle, and Russell, and thank you to everyone who submitted questions and came out for this event today. We hope you found the presentation helpful. We will be taking a 15-minute break before our next presentation on spousal support with Bill Rogers, Susanna Critchlow, and Margie Pomera-Plantel.
Thank you so much, Steph. Kaitlyn, Michelle, fantastic job as always. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with our audience.
Thanks so much for having us, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.